wanted to talk a little bit about spellbounding. Because you were raised in a narcissist family, right? You were under the spell of the parent or whoever the guardian was that was the narcissist in your family. Since childbirth, you were cast under their spell. Whether you knew it or they knew it, it is true. That spell goes until you get into childhood, teenage years, and then to adulthood. When you meet your partner, a lot of times what'll happen is you'll end up meeting a narcissistic partner. Unbeknownst to you, unknown to you, it's that it just happens, but you've been cast under a spell your whole life. So the way that you're operating, you're groomed this way, whether you know it or not, or whether the parental figure or hierarchy in your family that had you under that spell since childhood knew it or not. This generational spell, this has been placed on you, and until something sparks and awakens in you, you won't be able to break that spell. And a lot of times that's why you get sent narcissists in your life as well, is because it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Until you wake up, you're going to be under the control of a narcissist to some degree in most cases, because what happens is now you go from being under the spell of the parental figure and now to your boyfriend or girlfriend. And that's why when you do meet somebody, your parental figure will be like, oh, I don't like that person. I don't like the way they treat you, or they're not meant for you. And that's because whether they know it or not, they have the current spell over you. So they don't want to lose that supply. So what's going on is there's kind of like a transference. You're going from being under the spell of the parental figure to now being under the spell of the boyfriend or girlfriend that taken over. And there could be ties to both, but until you wake up, that's why I believe God continues to send these people into your life, is because it is a double-edged sword. God's sending them for you to wake up, and the enemy is sending them to keep you down and to keep you under the spell. Yeah, until you awake, a lot of times there's got to be some sort of lesson or something that sparks you to wake up. And until you get sparked, that lesson hits you, you get that manifestation in the spirit realm where it's almost tangible or touchable in the physical realm, that you're not going to wake. So that's why it's also hard to try to wake somebody else up out of the spell, because then you're going to get intertwined in that spell and you're going to get caught up in their issues of life. So that's why you never want to let the new supply know what they're dealing with, because they're not ready. You're not going to wake them up. If they run from the narcissist, they're just going to fall into a trap with another narcissist until they're ready to wake up. So they have to go through whatever spiritual dealings and orchestration that is in front of them and that they've dealt with behind them to get to a point to where they wake up. You're not going to control that. You're not going to also be able to help somebody else wake up, another empath or that sort of thing. You're awoke, and because you have awoke, you've broke that spell on yourself. But outside of that, you're not going to find a friend that's an empath that's under the spell of a narcissist and be able to wake them up. All you're going to do is you're going to get involved in that frequency, and that frequency is going to have negative effects on you. All you can do is you can give them pointers, but you don't want to try to uncover the whole thing. But outside of that, you're not going to wake an individual up until it is their time. In some cases, in a lot of cases, people never do learn their lessons, so they end up being with narcissists their whole entire life. But it doesn't mean or suggest that God hasn't given them the opportunity to wake up or, to break that curse. It's just they weren't willing to put the work in. They weren't willing to go there. They weren't willing to search it out. When you wake up to the curse, you'll start making changes in your life, because now you have the power to do that. And you have the power to do that because you've dealt with so much of this. And when you wake up to this, you start to realize this is how bad it hurt me. And I don't ever want to put that kind of wrath on somebody, because you become much more sensitive to people or the way you treat people because of the way that you were so horrifically treated. So with the total realization of this, it makes you more sensitive to the spirit and the way that you operate with other individuals. You also will become more strategic. So you also drop a lot of individuals in your life, because you'll realize that there was not just one narcissist feeding off of your life, but there were in fact many. So you'll start breaking ties and taking your power back, and you'll start increasing. A lot of people won't like that. So it's going to shake up a lot of things in the spirit realm in your life, and in other people's lives. There's going to be a lot of attacks on your life. So for a long time, you're going to have to deal with attacks and the operation of making change in your life. And at the same time, it's just trying to hold things down and keep it together. That's kind of what's going to happen. You're going to get more strategic in who you operate around, who you talk to, people that you call friends or family, and the time that you spend with them. A lot of times your whole character will change because you're going to start being more aware of energy transference, negative and positive energy, the theft of energy. And you're going to start seeing curses that used to fly at you and you used to willingly accept them. Now you will begin to, in the beginning, you'll be that old person that has those new things going on in your mind and your heart and your soul and your spirit. So you're going to accept the first few, but you're going to also feel it differently, and you're going to be assessing it, and you're going to start realizing that this is not for me, and these are ways that I need to make changes. So you're going to start repelling them. And when you start repelling them is where you're going to get more attacks. And then you're going to have to learn to respond and not react, and that's going to bring your ego down. Ego is what runs this world system. You're going to realize that the way to defeat these spell castings, these curses, and this energy transference is the ways to block them is going to be you dropping your ego and just not reacting to things like you used to. Because now you're going to know that I'm coming into myself, and now I'm in control of my own self like I always should have been, but I didn't. It's because people have been stealing your birthright. Everybody gets a birthright. We all have our own birthright. And so don't try to take my birthright, or don't try to control my birthright. I own my birthright and you own your birthright, and I'm not trying to control yours to hurt and use anybody. And so at the same time, don't try to control, use, and abuse me. You're going to start to see those situations that come about in your life, and you're starting to understand that you've always been a light worker. Working as a light worker is one thing, but a lot of times you're kind of, sometimes you can be building stuff with the wrong material, okay? You could be a light worker, but you may not be getting much done because you've been cast under spells and curses. But innately, you were always a light worker. You're always a good person, but you have to get in control of your own castle, okay? To become your own king, okay? To become your own queen. And so you need to start, if you're going to build a house, don't try to use thumbtacks. Maybe before you were trying to build a house using thumbtacks, but now you're coming in yourself and you're understanding what you're really supposed to do. So you're going to start using a hammer and nails, okay? And you're going to make sure that you ain't building your house on the sand no more. You're going to build it on the rock. And you're also going to be able to, you're going to learn how to operate in a way that's going to be more beneficial to you. It's kind of like you're going to be more savvy, okay? Because you're not going to have to do things 3 and 4 times anymore, because you're going to be able to do it on the first try, because now you're of a new understanding, okay? You're at a higher level of understanding because you've knocked all the confusion out. Satan's the author of confusion, and you're getting to a point now to where you're breaking curses, and when you're breaking curses, you're going to become more savvy. You're going to be quicker at doing things. You're going to be faster at doing them right and doing them correctly. You're going to know, where you're going to be able to swerve on fools, you know what I mean? Because you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to know, where you don't want to settle down, and, where you don't want to plant yourself, where you don't want to invest in. You're going to know who to repel and who to stay away from. So now you're becoming not just a light worker, but now you're walking into becoming a light warrior. Okay? That's all I wanted to get at today is you can't break somebody else's curse, but you could maybe spark the light in them that will lead them to their own breaking, because for a curse to break, it has to come from that individual. And that's where the narcissist will really not like it, because that's when they start to reap their reaping, because they've sown so much evil. And now that you're pulling away and you're breaking the curse, that's when you're detaching, and that's when it's going to come to them at full force, and they're not going to know what to do. So, peace out. You're not just a light worker, but now you're walking into becoming a light warrior. Soldier out.